This 2004 Corolla's air conditioning is sometimes a little bit cold, but usually not cold at all. So here are the steps you can do to troubleshoot the AC system and figure out what your problem may be. The AC system, there is a fuse under the dash here, a 10 amp fuse that may have blown due to a circuit overload. If that's the only thing that's blown, that may get your AC working again. However, the question is, why did that fuse blow? So it might be some wiring, it might be a short somewhere, it might be a bad ground. If that fuse is good, the next thing to look at is the AC Compressor Relay. And that's this here. Now, there is a service bulletin about the relay for this generation of Corolla and Matrix, but most of the time I've seen the service has already been done. So if this relay is bad, an easy way to check it is to take it out and put it in the horn relay. So then if the horn works, you know the relay is okay. If that relay is good, then when you press the AC button, the electric fan should come on. If it does come on, we have some other things to check. This pressure sensor is for the AC system. It's 4-conductor. If you press the AC button and the compressor doesn't engage and the fan doesn't come on, then you may be missing refrigerant pressure. So sometimes this sensor could be bad, or you may be leaking refrigerant. One of the most common things that I've seen, however, so if I have the AC button on, as soon as I plug the pressure sensor back in, then the system checks out and you'll see the fan come on, but it's still not cold. So we have refrigerant, we're sensing the pressure, the relay's coming on. The next thing to check is to check this plug. This plug is the electromagnetic clutch for the compressor. If you unplug it, you should see that one wire is ground and the other one has nothing when the AC button is not on. And then when the AC button is on, you should see 13.7 volts, you should see runtime voltage. If you don't, then the delivery of the power to the electromagnetic is not working correctly. So you start tracing this backward until you can find that. In our case, we are getting voltage when we press the button and the fan comes on, but the clutch does not engage. We don't see the outside of the clutch engage and start spinning when the engine's running. So we're going to replace the electromagnetic clutch and see if that fixes things. I have this ratchet on the hex head of the tensioner arm so that there was enough slack so that I can get the belt off the clutch pulley. And then we'll do the same thing when we put it back on. This is the replacement electromagnetic clutch kit. It comes with new snap rings, a new retaining bolt, new pulley, new electromagnet, a new clutch. Also, this is the relay. We're going to free the compressor module from its bracket on the engine so that we can get to the pulley assembly and get it off. So from the bottom, there's these two bolts, these two 12mm head bolts. Loosen these. From the top, there's also this bolt right here. With those bolts removed, now the compressor will come free of the engine, and you can move it far enough to get the retaining bolt out of the front of the pulley. So from below, I've moved the compressor more towards the center of the car. And if we get this center 10mm bolt out, then we should be able to get the outer clutch off. I held the outer clutch with these channel locks, and then it was real easy to loosen the 10mm bolt in the center. With the bolt out, I was able to pry the clutch off the splines. When you take this apart, make sure you know where the washers are so you can put the new washers and pulley on in the right order. Took the outer drive piece off, and there was a washer in there between this piece and the outside of the drive spindle. Now in the center there's a spring ring to remove. With the spring ring expanded and removed, now we can pull the pulley off. I put this 3-finger puller on to pull it off. With the pulley wheel pulled off, now there's another snap ring holding the electromagnet onto the compressor. So we expand that and it'll come off. Once the snap ring is off, the electromagnet comes off like this. Take note of where the pin sticks out. It's on the bottom of the module. You need to put the new one back on that way. To get the electromagnet harness out, you need to take the Phillips screw out of the top here, which is also the ground for the electromagnet. And that'll make it easier to separate the gray connector and then get the new one on. The replacement electromagnet doesn't have an intermediate connector, so I'm going to make sure that I compare the connectors and make sure I put it on the bracket in the same place. Here's the old and the new side by side. There's a lot of marring on this surface, and that's not from me removing it. There's this melting action on the electromagnet. I'm not sure. I think it might be from the plate heating up and descending on the electromagnet on this side because it's no longer flat. So we'll get this new one in here. The electromagnet is back on the compressor. So now we first put this snap ring on to hold that in place. The bevel goes on the outside, on the spindle side. As we put the magnet back on, we want to make sure the pin on the bottom lines up with the slot that it goes in. And then that will make sure that the electromagnet won't spin and is all the way down onto the compressor. Now we'll just expand the snap ring, get it back on there. Next we push the pulley on. We want to make sure we push it on all the way so that the ridge is there to put the spring clip on. We're doing bevel side out. Expand it, put it on there, let it contract back into the groove. Push it down with a screwdriver to make sure it's in the groove. Now just put the driver back on. And the retaining bolt.